Go ahead.
And when we were doing business with Chuck, he knew at that time the type of show that we were producing. And my biggest complaint is that if we were represented properly, we probably wouldn't be in this situation.
Just a second. Miss Russell, one of the things I didn't understand from your complaint is he is your agent.
Booking agent.
He is your agent.
That's correct.
He didn't get paid. He didn't get the check from the club to give to you. So how could he give it to you? Because it was stopped.
Because he misrepresented us, the casino was not happy with the show. And basically, when I spoke to him the Friday evening, we had technical problems due to the casino's staging and equipment. He told me, don't worry, no matter what, you will be paid. If it has to come out of my pocket, you will be paid.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
I'm telling you it's true. You say no, I say yes, I win, I'm the judge.
Cases, real people. Judge Judy. 32-year-old entertainer Karen Russell is suing booking agent Chuck Heinold for non-payment of a performance fee. Heinold says the act wasn't what was promised.
I'm reading your complaint, and I don't see anywhere in your complaint that he said, don't worry, I'll pay you even if it has to come out of my pocket.
Wait. He said, don't worry, I have the balance owed to you, and I will come back on April 5th to pay you.
Well, of course, I understand that. He said he had the balance. He did, in fact, have a check, correct? He had a check from the owner of the club. The owner of the club subsequently stopped payment on the check. Is that correct, Mr. Heinold?
That's right, Your Honor. I had a check right here. I have a copy
I'll take a look at the check. That's not what you said, Miss Russell. What you said to me was he told you that he would pay even if it has to come out of his pocket. That's not true.
Well, that's what
he never said
to us over the phone.
Just a second. Okay. He never said that because that's a very important thing. And if it was true that he said it, it would have been in your complaint.
I have a witness that he did say it. He said it to myself and the partner on the phone conversation Friday night, when I also found out that we were being represented as former Playboy playmates.
Just a second. I'll hear this witness if somebody wants to testify under oath that this man said, don't worry, I'll pay you even if it has to come out of my pocket. Who wants to testify to that? Let me ask you this question. Are you sure you want to testify to that, sir? Are you positive? Stand up here. First, tell me your name.
My name is Juan Llano.
Mr. Llano, I want you to think very carefully, sir. Are you sure that you want to testify that you heard this man say the following words? I will pay you even if it has to come out of my pocket. Did you hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
When I talked to him directly, the night before our last two performances.
And you're a member of this group?
Yes, I am. This is my company.
Did you ever say that to them?
No.
Why would he say that to you? You're so full of baloney, you people. Why in the world would your agent tell that to you? When he had a check in his hand from the people who you were working for.
Because I confronted him.
Confronted with what?
I confronted him because I've been in this business for about 15 years, and I know that people write bad checks.
I understand that, but you're suing the wrong person.
We're suing him for misrepresentation.
What kind of misrepresentation?
Former Playboy playmates when we're not.
Who did that? Flyer?
He.
Just a minute. Just a second. Did you print that flyer, Mr. Heinold?
No, ma'am, I did not.
But the casino, when I called the casino, I said, where did you get this information?
Don't tell me what the casino said to you. That's hearsay.
Okay. When I was trying to find out where this came from,
yeah,
the source went back to Chuck Heinold. They got
that's hearsay, madam.
From this.
That's hearsay. That's hearsay. Now, you may have been upset with that, but that's not misrepresentation.
Your Honor.
By him. He did not, unless you can establish to me that he actually printed those flyers and sent them out. That's not misrepresentation.
Your Honor.
What?
He advertised our show as Playboy, Girls of Rock, as Playboy. And they were going to see a bunch of beautiful women in bras and panties. That's not our show at all. We have a very classy show. For us to come into the casino and see outside the casino is a huge sign in neon saying Playmates.
Let me ask you this question, sir. Why didn't you leave? If you were unhappy with the promotion, you got
We didn't know about the promotion until after the second show.
The problem was, nipping it in the bud, is they were unhappy because they wanted to see the bras and the women, and we don't have a show like that.
You're wasting my time.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Step forward, please.
Makeup artist Candace Germain is heartbroken over the killing of her beloved cat and wants her next-door neighbors, Toby and Mark Kaplan, to pay the veterinary bills. She blames their German Shepherd for her cat's death.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the court, please. All rise. Judges number 21 on the calendar in the matter of Germain versus Kaplan. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
How long have you folks been neighbors?
Almost a year.
According to your complaint, Ms. Germain, you were the owner of a cat. The defendants own a dog. What kind of dog do you have?
German Shepherd.
And unfortunately, you allege that their dog injured and your cat subsequently died as a result of those injuries.
Yes.
And you are seeking the vet bills that you incurred. Now, why don't you tell me how that happened?
I was in my backyard watering, and Toby came to my gate and called out my name and said, "Candace?" And I said yes, and she was very calm about it. So I said, "Go to the front door," because my gate was locked. So on my way to the front door, I stopped. I got a glass of water. I took my time because it didn't sound urgent. I got to my front door. I saw she was holding my cat, and I said, "Oh," I go, "my cat looks dead." I go, "But sometimes they look that way." Then I noticed her tongue was hanging out of her mouth, and I said, "Oh my God, what happened?" And she said, "Well, we had just gotten home with our family, and I let my dog in your yard, as I usually do, to go to the bathroom."
That's not true.
That is exactly what was said. And she said, it took me no more than a few minutes to bring my baby carrier in the house, and then she said the dog came back with my cat in her mouth.
Where had your cat been?
The cat was in my yard at the very top of the back of the gate, which is like behind my house.
But in your yard?
Yeah, in my driveway.
So you took your cat, and what did you do with the cat?
Well, I took the cat, and I couldn't find my keys, so I insisted that she take me to a vet, because I didn't even know where a vet was. And
how long had you had the cat?
10 years.
What kind of cat was it?
A Himalayan.
What color? Blue Point, Teal Point? I know a little bit about cats.
I'm Blue Point.
I love their faces, don't you?
I know they're a totally different kind of a cat, if you know.
Yeah.
Like regular cats. My son had seen the cat up in the driveway 5 minutes prior to her coming to my fence with the cat.
Okay. So you took the cat to the vet, and what happened when you took the cat to the vet?
They said she had severe trauma, and that they did x-rays on her, and they said that she needed to stay overnight for care, that she wasn't well enough for me to take her home, but they didn't provide care there. So I had to take her to Studio City for overnight care. And they told me, just go ahead, pick up your cat at 8 a.m. She'll be, ready to go back to the vet. I called them right before I left my house, and it seemed everything was okay. When I got there, they said that she's gone the other direction. She'd never make it back. So they had me bring her next door for surgery.
You want to take a minute? 1 minute?
So I took her, or they transported her next door to the Studio City Animal Hospital. When they spoke with me, and they did not say that, she's not going to make it or anything. They just said that we can't, say either way. And I said to go ahead. And
what did they want to do?
They said she needed to do surgery because her lungs, she had a leak in her lungs or air in her lungs from the punctures.
So they did the surgery?
Yeah. Then they sent her back over to the overnight, and I kept checking on her. One time I checked on her, and they said she was stabilized, and then I checked on her again, and they said she wasn't doing well. And then at midnight, they called me, and they said, she's now probably has like a 5% chance of living. And she'd already been through a lot, so I just told them to let her go.
And what were the veterinary bills that you incurred?
I have them on here. $1,434. And that's just from Studio City Animal Hospital. The overnight care, I paid cash. That was a couple $100. And then Sherman Oaks Veterinary, the first place I took her to, was a little over $300.
You have those bills?
Those are all the bills. That's the overnight. Here's this. Actually, this is the total for, and then here's Sherman Oaks Veterinary Group.
Thank you. I have $1,786. Does that sound right?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Between these two bills, yeah. Okay.
There's three bills.
Who's going to speak? Mr. and Mrs. Kaplan?
I am.
Tell me what happened on that day.
We were at home. We had finished our dinner, and then we went out to get my daughter's booster seat out of my husband's car, and we brought the dog out with us. She comes out with us oftentimes and stays right near us, or she'll go piddle and come back.
But she was not on a leash.
She was not on a leash. So she walked out with us. We walked to the car, which was about 10 steps from our front door, opened the door, pulled out the booster. Mark went around to the trunk of his car to open up the trunk and looked on the sidewalk, and our dog had her cat by the scruff of the neck walking gingerly towards us as if she had found something injured and brought it to us. And I even reached out and I pet the cat. Cat felt dry, bone dry, fine. Didn't even have any indication that anything was wrong. Looked up at me, and I thought, well, I don't know why she even brought it over. She's never done that. And we started to walk away. The cat got up and started to walk towards the house. And when she was walking, I thought she looked a little funny. So I thought, well, let me check and see. Maybe this is the way the cat is, or maybe there's a problem. So I picked up the cat, and she still hadn't said anything. We hadn't heard anything, seen anything. I picked her up, and I went to Candace's front door. I knocked. There was no answer. I heard watering in the backyard, so I went to the gate. I yelled out about 4 times to Candace before she answered, and I said, I think there's something wrong with your cat, but I'm not sure. Can you come to the front, come, let me in? And she said, the gate's locked. I'll go in the front door. I'll come out. She came to the door after just a couple of minutes, and she looked at the cat. She said, oh, my God, what's wrong with the cat? Is the cat dead? And I said, I don't know what's wrong with the cat. Gabby brought her to us, and I don't know what's wrong. And I tend to be a calm person by nature, so I wasn't melodramatic about it. And all of a sudden she said, oh, my God, her tongue's out. And then Candace started, oh, my God, is she dead? Is she going to go? And she just, with the tears and screaming and carrying on, and she was very upset, which I could understand. Being a pet owner, you get upset if there's something wrong with it. So I took Candace to the vets with her cat. And at that time, the vet had said it could be, it appears to be a puncture. She could have been hurt. It could have been from an animal, bite, whatever. But they didn't know, so they took her back to stabilize her. And it wasn't until the next day or the day after she came over with bills and handed them to Mark. And Mark said, well, what is this?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You know how long it takes to hang somebody?
Well, it takes a while.
Less than 2 minutes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Candace Germain claims her neighbor's dog killed her cat and wants Toby and Mark Kaplan to pay all the vet bills.
Ms. Germain, I have a few questions for you. I have to get the logistics. Was your cat within a confined area?
She was just on the, no, she wasn't. She was just on the other side of the fence.
And do your 2 properties abut each other?
Yes, our driveway's between the 2 yards.
So that your cat was outside of an enclosed area and your dog
was in my yard.
Outside of an enclosed
Was
area.
outside of an enclosed
outside
area.
of an enclosed area.
That's
And
correct.
when we saw her, she was on the sidewalk in the front.
Her dog went into my yard.
But you
That's
didn't
what
see
you're
that.
saying.
There
Can
are
I
many
say that
dogs in our
my-
front yard all the
Can
time.
I say that my cat, because she's an indoor cat and she'd accidentally gone out, never leaves that top of that driveway. She does not walk around the front of the yard because she's usually in the backyard.
You know what we're talking about, Ms. Germain? What we're really talking about is there is a certain responsibility that you have when you let a pet, whatever that pet is, outside without a leash, or a cat outside without being confined to an area. What I was trying to ascertain was whether there was any proof that their dog somehow got into your fenced property where this cat was.
No.
And there is none. So the next question is, did the dog actually do the damage to this cat? Now, I want you to describe to me how this German Shepherd came to you with this cat in his mouth.
Well, she was
I'm sorry.
She was carrying the cat by the scruff of the neck like a female dog would carry its pups. And the cat was just sitting there. She wasn't trying to get away. She wasn't doing
She doesn't
anything.
know
She
any
was
better.
just carrying.
She doesn't know any
There was
better.
no sound. There was no skirmish. There was no anything going on. And the dog walked right up to Mark, right up to him like, there's something wrong here.
Well, sometimes I have seen dogs, I don't know whether you have, come in with squirrels, come in with all kinds of little creatures outside to sort of bring
Home.
a gift
That's right.
home
right.
to their owner. Look what I have for you. And they're not bringing that home to say, listen, this is an injured pet, and I'm coming to you because I want you to fix it. They're coming to you and saying,
Look at
I have a
that.
trophy
Right.
to give you because I love you.
Well,
That's what they're saying. I
This would
assume.
have been the
They
first
don't
time
pick
she
up an
brought
injured
this
animal, they
trophy
haven't
home.
But
done
she's
Hold
never,
Hold on a
she's
second.
never,
Go ahead.
This would be the first trophy that she'd ever brought home in the 2 years that we've had her.
Has she ever brought home just? Hey,
No,
Has she ever brought home a
Nothing.
sick pet for you to help?
nothing.
No.
So she has never brought home a sick pet for you to help, which is really what you
well,
are
she also
suggesting.
never carries anything ever in her mouth. She won't even fetch a ball. She won't do
But she
anything.
did this
Yes,
time.
she did.
Yeah,
She did this time.
right.
And so your supposition that she was bringing you home a sick pet to show you that she had brought home an injured animal is merely supposition. I want to tell you right now that it strikes me more likely that for whatever reason she was bringing home a trophy to her owners. And unfortunately the trophy
Well, it was
was
less
hers.
than
Can I
a
say
2-minute
something?
period of
It
time,
doesn't-
though, that it was there,
Let me-
and the...
You know how long it takes to hang somebody?
Well, it takes a while.
Less than 2 minutes.
Judge Judy is ready to rule. And later today,
And actually, I feel sorry for her new boyfriend because she's probably going to ruin him like she has me. So.
real cases, real people, Judge Judy. Toby and Mark Kaplan say they shouldn't be held responsible for the death of Candace Germain's cat, that any dog in the neighborhood could have been responsible, not just their German Shepherd.
I'm not a German Shepherd psychiatrist, and I'm not a behavioral scientist, so I can't tell you what German Shepherds usually do. All I can tell you is you have a dog that you've just told me never did anything like this before,
Right.
but did it now.
It carried a cat to me, yes.
And so, based upon the proof that I have, which is she had a live cat with no problem, and your dog brought her cat, your big German Shepherd brought her little Himalayan cat in the mouth. The cat suffered trauma. Cat didn't survive. It appears to me that I am satisfied by the required quantum of proof in these proceedings, which doesn't have to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It has to be proof by what we call a preponderance of the evidence. You know, more evidence than not. Your dog caused these injuries, so you're responsible for these bills. I would also suggest to you that when you have a big dog, and now you have a big dog that for one reason or another brought you prey once, that you see to it that that dog is not let out without a leash, even for a minute, unless it's in your enclosed property. Because you never can tell a dog that is perfectly fine for years and years all of a sudden goes off like that. So I am satisfied that the injuries that were caused to her cat, which resulted in the cat's death, and the subsequent medical bills that she is responsible for, were a result of what your dog did, and I'm awarding the plaintiff $1,786. Thank you, that's all.
Excuse me, step out. Thank you to your right, please. Sure.
We wanted to keep peace in the neighborhood and not have problems, and it hasn't been since this incident. In the rudeness towards us from them, the cold shoulders, which is understandable though, and then sprinklers shooting up over our cars that are on our yard that haven't been fixed, and loud music that vibrates our house and everything, and so, you know, they're just rude to us.
Bodies on Bonnet versus Roberts. Step forward.
35-year-old engineer Ronald Burnett is suing his ex-wife, Sandra Roberts, over a check that bounced.
Mr. Burnett, the defendant has been served in this action and has not appeared, so I'm prepared to enter a default judgment in your favor, sir. But before I do, there are several questions that I have.
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, the defendant, who is your ex-wife, borrowed money from you.
Well, actually wasn't borrowed. She asked for the checks, or she gave me checks because she needed the cash immediately. And her landlord...
First of all, why would you lend your ex-wife money in the first place?
Well, she was living with me.
Why?
After...
Why?
Well, she has a 2-year-old son who, well, actually 5 years old now. He's 2 years old when I first met him. He doesn't have a biological father of record. So he called me his father, and I'm very attached to the little boy. So I went and allowed her to come back and live with me for the little boy's sake, because she come back from wherever, Missouri, I believe it was, and until she found a place of her own. I allowed her stayed with me.
How long did she stay with you?
Oh, it was about 3 months till about January. And then an incident occurred where she started having a lot of her male friends calling in the middle of the night, and she'd talk to them for hours. She wasn't providing anything around the house. She was like basically living as if I was, a parent or something, taking care of her. And so I asked her to leave, and then she got violent one day on the car. I was picking her up from work. She didn't have a vehicle at the time. She took the mirror off and started hitting me with it and stuff. So I said, you have to leave. You have to go. And it's not good for the environment of your son. So she got an apartment and all. Well, she started getting behind on her bills because she, for whatever reason, and she basically wanted to either come back to live with me or, she needed help with her bills. So for the little boy's sake, and I still have feelings for her. I mean, I know in my head that, it never worked out between us. I still care for her and adore the child. So
Do you visit with the child?
I was up until recently, until all this mess with the checks go, and so I haven't seen him quite a while now.
That's too bad.
Yes, it is.
That's
I
too
feel
bad
sorry
for
for
him.
the little boy, and then I feel sorry for myself, of course.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How much did you give her that she failed to
Okay,
return?
what it was at the time I didn't even have money, but she needed $250 immediately for her rent in cash. So she wrote me a check out, but I didn't have the cash in my account at the time. And she needed it that night. Then I finally agreed to give it to her. So I went to the National Check Cashiers, and they have a $37.50 charge. So she wrote me a check for the $250 plus the additional $37.50. And then she told me about her car being in the shop, and she couldn't get her car out unless she had the money for it. And it was additional $250. So we went to her car shop, and I wrote her $250. And she told me at that time, she says, well, I get paid Saturday. This is like on Thursday. She said, the money will be good by Monday. So she wrote me the second check for $250, which is what I wrote out to the car dealership. And I have all this information here.
So far I'm up to $537.50.
Right. And so it comes to Monday, so I held up. I didn't really need the money at that time, so I held up to the Monday, go to her bank, and I asked him, I said, do you have the money in the account? No, we don't. So then I tried getting a hold of her. She avoids my calls, and...
But she still owes you the money. She stopped
Right,
payment.
well-
According to your paper, she stopped payment on these checks.
Yeah, well, eventually, then I deposited the checks. I was trying to do is prevent her from getting her bounce check charges, and for me getting them.
So all told, including, sir, the fees for these checks being stopped, came to $602.
Right. Well, that included the mirror, because one of the things I was asking for was that she reimbursed. Because then when I got upset with this, she promised she would never hit me with the mirror and stuff again. Then she turned around and then she did this with the checks. I said, well, I'm going to go for a reimbursement of where you broke the mirror. That doesn't count the medical payments of where she injured me with the mirror.
How did she injure you with the mirror?
Oh, when she broke it off, she started beating me with it.
Where?
Oh, or I put my hands up, so I have them about my wrist and arms and stuff.
Mr. Barnett, you better put a period to the end of this relationship.
Oh, it's already happened.
Okay. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $602, the amount of his request. Thank you, sir.
Excuse me. Step out, sir.
And on the next,
Villa versus Casares. Step forward, please.
beauty salon owner Jill Villa claims her manicurist Erica Casares quit before her one-year lease was up. Erica says Jill turned the salon into a shopfront church for gangsters.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, it's number 103 on the calendar in the matter of Villa versus Casares. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Villa, you have a beauty salon, and according to your complaint, you rent space in that beauty salon to independent contractors,
Right.
such as the defendant, who is a nail specialist.
Look nice.
You rented her space in your salon at the rate of $200 a month. Is that right?
Right.
You say that and it was a 3-year lease.
It was a one-year lease.
It was a 1-year lease. 1-year lease. You say that she left after a relatively short period of time. She owes you somewhere over $2,000 for rent.
Right.
You say she left. She says that she was asked to leave. So tell me first about this establishment and how it works.
Okay. I have a salon. I do hair. I have 4 stations. I have pictures of those. And I have 1 space for nails.
And what's the financial arrangement that you have?
Basically, they just rent that space from me, and they take care of their insurance, their taxes, everything to run a business.
Okay, how did you find each other?
I went into a beauty supply store. I saw her nails. She does great nails. And I was looking for a nail technician at the time, and I asked her if she would be interested in booth renting a space for me. And she came in and signed a lease and rented for 1 year. And then in December before her year lease was up, in December of '96, I asked her if she would want to sign another lease.
For another year?
Right.
I see. Okay, when did she leave?
She left in May 14th. So she stayed her whole year. Now her new lease would have started May through May of '98, and that's the signed one that she has.
Well, tell me your version of what the events were surrounding her leaving. and breaking the
Actually,
second
Your Honor,
years.
they were very confusing. I had a staff meeting where I had 2 hair stations available, and I hired 2 hairdressers. So I had a staff meeting with one hairstylist and Erica, letting them know that there would be 2 hairstylists starting at Making Waves.
Making Waves is the name of your shop.
Right. Her reaction was very rude. She was obnoxious.
Well,
and
that's your interpretation of her actions. What did she say? What did she do?
She said, I will not work with white women. I'm prejudiced, and I do not like change. And I have a witness to that who heard that. I have 2.
And so what did you say to her?
I said, you haven't even worked with them one day. How can you say you're prejudiced against these girls? I just don't like them.
Okay, first of all, when I signed a contract going into a salon, not a church. And that's exactly what the salon turned into.
Explain that to me.
Well, she got religious, which is fine, that's her business. And she had the pastor there all the time.
Who's the pastor?
Right over there.
What were they doing?
Running their church out of the salon.
What does that
That's
mean,
not
running their
true.
church out? Shh.
That's not
What
true.
does that mean, running their church out of the salon?
They had their own phone line in there. The pastor was always there. The men's home, which is these men that they're trying to, from prison, that they're trying to turn over, I don't know, to make them better men, I guess, were always there. Okay, these are men that have been in prison for really bad
So they were
crimes.
coming into the salon.
Right. So when I have a client sitting there, they're seeing this man there with all these tattoos on his neck, all these men. They don't want to be there. They're uncomfortable. My clients come in to get their nails done, not to be preached to. And what they do is preach God to my clients. My clients did not want to hear
While
about
they
God.
were having their nails done?
Yes, they had.
Step up here, sir.
And Jennifer's witness to that.
Get to you in a minute. Tell me your name.
Robert Dominguez.
Mr. Dominguez, when did you become involved with this salon?
When Jill and her husband first started coming to our church, and
When was that?
that was in '96. Jill had offered me a corner there to have a phone there so that I can do business and make contact with people for the crusade that we were organizing.
Tell
for
me
that
about
city.
the crusade.
What a crusade is there is we reach out to the gang members, the drug addicts, those that are considered outcasts of society. And during that time, since we were just beginning there in that city, and finances at the time were very, very short, so Jill had offered me a corner. She offered me to that I could put a phone there. And from that point on, one thing I need to make clear is I don't force the gospel on anybody. People ask me, and I in turn respond.
Sir, I am correct, therefore, that when you say you reach out to gang members, you reach out to drug addicts, and you reach out to former prison inmates, you reach out to them and ask them to come in so that you can counsel them. Is that correct?
Witness to them.
Witness to them, counsel them, whatever. And you were doing this witnessing or counseling in this salon.
No, it wasn't. No, not in the salon.
Are you telling me, sir, that you never had any of these people who you were trying to reach come into the salon?
No.
They never did?
No. The men's home were there during the crusade. I wasn't counseling them. I wasn't witnessing to them. They were part of the workforce of helping me organize this crusade.
Mr. Dominguez, maybe we're not understanding each other, sir. Did the people that you were involved with, either people who were reformed and then reaching out, or the people that you were reaching out to, ever come into the salon?
Yes, they did.
That's right. And they came in, you spoke to them, they spoke to each other,
We had conversation.
Did you ever speak to any of the defendant's clients while they were having their nails done or while they were waiting to have their nails done?
When I was asked. When
What do you
I was asked either by Erica, or I was either introduced to them, or they would ask me questions once they
That's a
found-
lot of oars. Step up. Who are you?
Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer, how were you involved in this operation?
I also worked at the salon and was asked to leave.
Why?
Because I was an evil spirit.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You changed the establishment from a beauty salon, hair and nails, to a beauty salon, hair, nails, and redemption.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Manicurist Erica Casares. says she quit her lease at Jilvia's beauty salon because Jill turned the place into a church for outcasts.
You were an evil spirit? Who told you that?
Erica. That's what they stated.
That's not true, Your
Jill
Honor.
stated that to me.
That is not true,
Yes,
Your
it is
Honor.
true.
Just a second.
Can I say why she was dismissed?
Were you a hairstylist?
Mm-hmm.
She was dismissed because she came into my shop intoxicated with a male gentleman with her. She was stealing from Erica because Erica kept saying how she's stealing all my nails.
No.
She's stealing all my nails. She was stealing my
stuff is
nail
locked up.